Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at virginiafarmbureau.com.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all the wonderful products you enjoy, brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Virginia Beach is not just for tourists. Farming is the third largest industry there. Chef Maxwell shows how to smoke vegetables for a new taste treat, and Virginia cattlemen hope they'll soon have new international customers. Welcome back, everyone. We're coming to you from the Fredericksburg Farmers Market, and it turns out that sun and sand aren't the only attraction in Virginia Beach. According to Dave Miller, it's home to one of the state's largest farmers markets that's helping to feed more than 1 million residents and tourists.
One of the largest and most diverse farmers markets in the state, the Virginia Beach Market, is owned by the city. Virginia Beach is a unique combination of urban, suburban, and rural communities, and the farmers market offers a chance for all of the city's residents and tourists to mix and mingle.
Agriculture is the third largest industry here in Virginia Beach. The farmers market plays a key role in that. It allows our farmers to wholesale their product through the market. We've got approximately 460,000 people that live in Virginia Beach and call it home. A total of about 1.8 million around here. So we as farmers in the area don't have to sell our product outside of our area. We sell it all local, from the Buy Fresh, Buy Local movement to the Farm Bureau movement, Buy Eat Local, other farmers market programs throughout the area like our Farm to Library program, our Why Not Wednesday program, all started with the thought process through this farmers market.
The market has close educational ties to the community, including a large children's garden featuring displays on pollinators, butterflies, wildlife habitat, and edible plants. More than 200 master gardeners reach out to the community and share knowledge about gardening and landscaping with the community.
Inside the Rural Heritage Center, it's an opportunity to take a step back in time, we call it, with the children. So we have antique tools up on the wall, and we do things the old-fashioned way by milking the cow by hand. So we have a fiberglass life-size cow, and her name is Beachy, named after Virginia Beach. And then the children also have the opportunity to wash clothes by hand with a washboard. And we shell corn, and they're able to grind the corn and bring it out to the chickens to eat. And then we also have them churn butter, so they know that the cream, eventually becomes butter after they churn it.
Many of the farmers market vendors are staples in the community. Linda Skipper has sold produce at the market for more than 20 years. She's proud of the wide variety of vegetables and fruits she offers, and she's always happy to explain how she raises her crops.
They like to know that it's local and who grew it and what kind of pesticides are on it and how is it sprayed and is it organic, is it not organic? People have a lot of questions nowadays, but that's okay, we deal with that. I like the fact that a lot of our stuff we do grow, and it helps us a lot that we grow things, and I like to hear about, we always have conversations about customers' gardens, what they're growing and how their things are doing. They come to me with a lot of their agriculture questions. They have problems with their tomatoes, and I try to help them with those. So it makes it more fun.
You really can find the butcher and baker, if not the candlestick maker, at the Virginia Beach Farmers Market. But there are craft vendors and even a full menu restaurant at the market that is a popular lunch destination. It's all part of a vibrant community that embraces both farmers and consumers.
It is really important for cities, towns, communities to have a focal place for agriculture. Your farmers market here in Virginia Beach serves as one of those locations. It's a catalyst for spin-off markets that we do, like in our Farm to Library program. And also, I'd say the second most important thing is the interaction of the farmer with the citizen, with the tourist. Our people today want to really know where their food's coming from. They want to meet the farmer. We buy products as citizens, and we really don't know how to cook it. We don't know what the product is, the value of the product. The farmers can help educate the citizens and others on what the value of the product is.
Virginia Beach has a historic and diverse agricultural background. Oysters from the area were served on the Titanic, and Virginia Beach was once the largest hog-producing area east of the Mississippi River. Now the region is home to dozens of local produce growers who sell $160,000 in products through the market. Like all successful direct marketing businesses, it's the people and the community that make the market thrive. In Virginia Beach, this is Dave Miller.
The past 2 decades have seen explosive growth in the local foods movement, and farmers markets have been key to the whole direct marketing phenomenon. Virginia had at least 259 farmers markets at the beginning of 2017, with more markets opening all the time. The U.S. Department of Agriculture estimates farmers markets contribute $9 billion each year to the American economy. And the Census of Agriculture notes that a large part of the growth in Virginia farm numbers has come from smaller producers who tend to sell their products directly to consumers.
I'm Mark Viet. Coming up on In the Garden, I'm going to talk about beautiful fall flowering plants. And one of them, the honeybees love. Stay with us.
More than 90 years ago, the Virginia Farm Bureau made a promise to our local farmers to protect and preserve a way of life they'd worked so hard to establish. Today, our insurance agents work to protect all Virginians, not just farmers. Anyone can be a Farm Bureau member and enjoy the many benefits of membership. There's a local Farm Bureau in every county of the state. We think everyone should be a friend of the farm. Visit our website at vafb.com to learn more.
You've worked hard all season to grow beautiful plants. Wouldn't it be nice to continue to have those plants throughout the winter? Mark Viet shows us how to transplant tender plants in the garden.
My number one favorite hummingbird attracting plant is this beautiful blue flower that you see right here. This is known as Salvia black and blue. And a lot of research that is out there today, it is the number one attracting plant. It is even better than the butterfly bush in attracting hummingbirds. You know, we'll come out in the patio at my parents' house here, and there'll be as many as a dozen hummingbirds all over these salvia. The hard thing is to find it in the spring. It is a tender plant. It's a plant that's native to Argentina. It's a zone 10 plant. It really doesn't like temperatures below 25 degrees, and sometimes they'll freeze out during the winter months if they're out in your garden. But in the spring, when I'm looking for this plant, I sometimes see it, but it's in this little tiny pot, not as a big plant. It's well worthwhile saving this plant and overwintering it in a variety of ways to keep it so you have it next spring. One thing we might do in some of those areas where it doesn't get quite so cold, we'll take a bag of bark, pine bark, and we'll cover the whole plant once we cut it back in the fall. That's one way to save it. Another way to save it is to bring containers that are already filled with this plant in a protected area, or if you have it in a garden, you can dig it, put it in a pot, and overwinter it. As winter approaches, this is probably what you're going to normally see on some of your tender tropical plants. You know, even tropical hibiscus. They're going to start turning yellow. The leaves may fall. They're going to stop flowering. But this is a plant that I bought in June, and this is a new variety. It was called Amistad, which was sort of a lavender instead of a blue salvia, black and blue. And this plant was $26. One of the problems was I had to wait to June to even find it. I really want to start out with a bigger plant earlier. So what you're going to do is come in here and shear it back. And once you've sheared it back to about 10 to 12 inches, you can then put it in a corner of your garage or in your basement. The key to storing this plant during the winter months is not to overwater it. And I'll sometimes take a blanket and put a blanket around it in the corner of the garage so it gets heat from the garage. Then you start out in end of April or May, you bring it back, you water it, and you start out with a well-established plant. I usually recommend pruning them back first so I can see where exactly to dig this clump. So I'm going to come in here and use a hand shears if you want. Makes it easy either way. And you're just going to come in and prune the branches just like this. And then at least you'll know where to exactly dig this. Lots of stems, lots of shoots, so next spring I'm going to start out with a huge plant. So just take your shovel and come in. And I usually recommend that you just cut around first. So I'm starting out with like a 3-gallon plant in the spring. You might lose a little soil, but here is your container. And if we just go right to putting this table here, just gently lift the plant. One thing you're going to notice on this plant is there's lots of shoots. 1, 2, 3. So it's a really huge plant. And what I'm going to do is set it just like that, ready to go. Store it where it won't get colder than 25, 26 degrees, and you'll have a beautiful plant in the spring. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.
Lots of backyard meals include smoked meats. Chef Maxwell offers a vegetable alternative next in the heart of the home. There are 30,000 roadway accidents each year involving cars and farm machinery. Farmers will be moving equipment for planting and harvest season. The slow-moving vehicle triangle in red and fluorescent orange colors and flashing lights allow for quick identification. When you see an SMV sign on farm equipment, slow down, prepare for sudden stops and slow turns.
Patience will save lives. Just remember, we all need to share the road, we all need to be responsible, and we need to be guided by the law.
Motor vehicle safety starts with you.
The State Fair of Virginia is known for its family-friendly atmosphere, exciting attractions, and, of course, fabulous fair food. The most important focus continues to be youth and adult livestock competitions, and dozens of competitions where other Virginians can win a coveted State Fair blue ribbon. Everything from prize vegetables to baked goods to crafts and photography are featured each year as the best of the best. To learn more about this year's State Fair of Virginia, visit our website at statefairva.org.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our determination, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
You can smoke a brisket, you can smoke a pork butt, but can you smoke a pepper? Chef Maxwell says yes, you can. And in fact, today he shows us how we can add flavor to our vegetables in the heart of the home.
Hi, we're here at Meadow Hall at Meadow Event Park in Doswell, Virginia, site of the State Fair of Virginia. And we're getting ready to play with some great harvested vegetables from Virginia. We're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to smoke them, but not in an overnight smoker. We're going to smoke them quickly on our stovetop, right? So I've got Alicia with me from Stratford University's Culinary School, one of my students over there. So how you doing? Good. You ready for this? Yes. Okay, very good. What I'm going to ask Alicia to do is to begin cutting up the vegetables into uniform sizes. So you see we've got some cauliflower, we've got some mushrooms, we've got some potatoes and some Brussels sprouts. So we don't want anything to be too much bigger than that unless it's really soft like eggplant. All right? So you go ahead and start cutting these together and tossing them into this bowl.
Okay.
and I'm going to talk to people about what I'm doing with this smoker. All right? Right. This is a cast iron wok you can buy at any Asian market. Right? It's not a thin, rolled steel wok because I like it to keep its heat. So I've got a rack. I'm sure you recognize this. It could be a cake rack or bread rack or something like that. I'm taking some rosemary I harvested out of my garden this morning, and I'm putting it down in there. I'm putting this on top, and we're going to be covering this and turning the fire on, and the rosemary will begin to smoke and cook these vegetables as we go through. So one of my favorite vegetables is this. This is fennel. It's really good, almost anise or tarragon-like kind of flavor. So I'm going to throw some of this in too. All right, so we just go ahead and roll that in. Are we ready? All right, so let's go ahead and sprinkle it with some salt and pepper and toss a little bit of the olive oil. Good. Now all we need to do is shake that up and make sure that all of the vegetables got some oil on them. So now we're going to take this off, and I'm just going to take these out with my hands and kind of put them on this rack. Now you can use any kind of vegetables you want, but they're going to cook at different rates. So if you've got a really hard vegetable like a potato, you may want to blanch that off a little bit before you put it in the process. Okay, we'll throw that in there, and that's it. All right, so we'll put that over there. All right, we're going to put the cover on. Make sure it fits good. This will generate some smoke, so you want to make sure that it sits down good. Otherwise, too much smoke will come out through the bottom. All right, we're ready? And there it goes. It'll take a couple of minutes to start smoking. Meanwhile, I'm going to make the salad dressing. And a little bit of hot pepper. This is some arbol peppers that I toasted and crushed. They're kind of spicy, so you want to be careful on that. All right. So as I pour the oil in, you go ahead and whisk that very vigorously. Yeah, very good. And in goes the oil. Okay, now we add a little bit of salt and pepper. And that's a very quick vinaigrette dressing that you can use for pretty much anything. All right. Very good. So that's it. Now we're just going to wait for this to finish smoking, and we're going to have ourselves a salad. All right, Alicia, I think while this has been smoking, this has settled out a little bit, so we need a nice little agitation on that. And I'm going to go ahead and lift this, all right? All right, and all those look gorgeous. They look gorgeous. So I'm going to come over here, get a towel. And on it goes. That's all set. Get a little bit more of these mushrooms in there. Now we're ready with this. All right, and we're going to drizzle this all over this. And we are ready for dinner. And there we have it. Pan-smoked vegetables with a mixed green salad and an Italian-style vinaigrette dressing. Join us next week on Heart of the Home when we get to play with more great Virginia food.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com, as well as on Chef Maxwell's website at chefjohnmaxwell.com. Virginia has historically been known for peanuts and apples, but it turns out the vegetable industry is also a powerhouse in the Old Dominion. 1,665 Virginia farmers raise $92.3 million worth of vegetables, melons, potatoes, and sweet potatoes each year, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. That makes vegetable production the 8th largest sector of the state's farm economy. Most of the vegetables raised in Virginia are sold fresh to local markets or shipped as far away as Canada. There are very few commercial processing operations in the state.
Virginia exports a wide variety of farm products, from tobacco to grain to timber. Recently, a new market opened up for one of our largest farm sectors right next door. What may look like a nice break from the summer sun was actually a heated auction for Virginia beef cattle. With a herd size of 1.6 million head, cattle and calves are Virginia's second largest agriculture sector, with annual sales of $714 million. But there's always room to grow. Canadian feedlot representatives visited Virginia cattle farms in August to learn more about Virginia's beef industry. Hosted by the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Livestock Marketing Services, the tour was designed to boost feeder cattle sales to Canada.
This year, the United States, the numbers are almost triple what they were last year at this time. So again, Canada is a very, very important player, certainly in the beef industry. And so as a family farmer myself, as a cattle person from Buckingham County, I certainly understand and appreciate how important beef is and Canada is to our beef industry here in Virginia.
More than 44,000 head of U.S. cattle were exported to Canada in the first half of this year. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says that's an increase of almost 192% compared to 2016. Two cattle feeding operations from Quebec began purchasing Virginia beef cattle in 2012 with sales of $31 million, according to state officials. There's a great opportunity to increase that number since the Old Dominion is much closer than other Canadian cattle sources.
They currently purchase a lot of their cattle from Western Canada, which is about a 2,000-mile ride, and we're only 600 or 700 miles from there with an ample supply of cattle, so they became very interested once we got to talking with them.
We thought it was an important trip just to build a solid relationship. We met approximately 8 months ago at our convention in London, and we're always looking at different avenues to get cattle depending on markets and the time of year. It definitely is closer. We're still obviously looking at the different avenues, how we would get the cattle and the quality, obviously.
The three-day tour stopped at beef farms and auction sites from northern Virginia to the southwestern part of the state. The visits gave both trade partners an opportunity to build relationships and better understand the specific needs of the buyers and the sellers.
We've exported approximately $31 million of feeder cattle to Canada over the past 5 years, and we see that growing each year. So we're very excited about that and very excited about the potential that this group of buyers brings to the table.
Canada is Virginia's second largest farm export market, with sales of all ag products reaching $296 million last year. Virginia cattlemen are hoping those numbers will grow again this year thanks to increased sales of their high-quality cattle. That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We are so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we are proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.